The 2020 Cowboys season was not ideal to say the least. They started out 2-3, and in that second win that they had against the Giants back in October, they lost quarterback Dak Prescott for the year with a horrendous injury, and that can kind of best be described as how the rest of their season went. After Dak went down, they played the Cardinals on Monday night and got absolutely trounced in that game, and then ended up losing 6 of 7. And it was not a good year for the Cowboys, and when your quarterback, and especially a great quarterback like Dak, goes down like that, you're pretty much eliminated right away, and not surprisingly, they were. Now, they did have a little bit of a push towards the end of the season as they were 3-9 and then won 3 consecutive games, and technically could have made the playoffs had they won against the Giants in week 17 and then the football team lost, but as we know, that did not happen. But again, if you're going into the playoffs at 7-9, and you're probably not going to go very far, and as we saw with the football team, they did not. They were competitive, but anyway, even if the Cowboys made the playoffs last year, they weren't going to go far. They were going to lose to the Bucs just like the football team did. And what we're saying in today's video is, tossing all of that aside, can they actually win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott this year? And a lot of people like to hate Dak just because he is America's team's quarterback, but Dak is a very, very good quarterback. And I know a lot of people that probably would not like to admit, but they would take Dak as their franchise player. Now, there's very few quarterbacks for the next 5 to 10 years that I would take over Dak, and that list is very short, as we said. But what we are going to break down in today's video is, can they come off of a disappointing 2020 season in which the, almost $100 million man, Zeke Elliott, also had a very disappointing year? So can they rebound off all of that from a 6-10 season in which their star quarterback got hurt? And can they rebound and make a Super Bowl run in the NFC East? Before we dive into that though, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as each only take a second to do and it would be very much appreciated. Now let's begin. So like we do with most videos with the Super Bowl and can a team win the Super Bowl, we start out looking at how their schedule plays out, and they have a week 7 bye, and it's certainly not an ideal start with going to Tampa in week 1. And what I do want to say is we are not automatically writing off the Cowboys' chances of winning this game. Now, are they going to win? I'm going to say probably not, but what I do want to say is Tom Brady-led teams are usually not September teams, and the Bucs did struggle last year. They were nearly 500 in December, and they were 7-5 at a point, and they beat the Vikings to go to 8-5. But what I do want to say is this is not just an automatic Bucs, okay, they're going to win 35-10, see ya, thanks, bye. It is not going to be like that. Dallas will certainly stress the Bucs defense out with the weapons that they have, and then is it going to be easy for either team? No. Will the Bucs probably win? Yes, but I don't want to just automatically just write the Cowboys off as 20-point, loss. It's not going to be like that, and I do think it will be a very entertaining week 1 game. The next game they have is certainly not easy, as they go to the Chargers, and Justin Herbert, as we know, is expected to take a leap, and I don't think the Cowboys' chances of winning this game are as low as you'd think, because Justin Herbert will certainly be hearing, especially if he struggles week 1, he will be hearing about how he's supposed to pretty much be a prodigy and he's supposed to be this next great player. So I certainly don't think the Cowboys' chances of winning this game are just written off like people have for the Bucs game either. Now, could Dallas start out 0-2 at Tampa and at the LA Chargers? Yes, they most certainly could start out 0-2, but I certainly don't think that we should just write each game off and we should just start them in week 3 against the Eagles on Monday night, because I certainly don't think that's going to be the case, and I do think they are going to more than compete in each game. And as we said, the third game is versus Philly on Monday night, and quite honestly, I would be surprised if they lose this, so I do think worst case they start out 1-2, and then the next game is versus the Panthers and then versus the Giants. So after that hard stretch, or the hard start to the season of at Tampa and at the Chargers, they do have 3 consecutive home games, which they should win each of them, as they are versus the Eagles, versus the Panthers, and versus the Giants. And after that, it is at the Patriots in week 6 on the road. So ideally, the Cowboys I mean, they're going to have to win at least one of these road games. I don't think they can start out 3-3 and expect to have a deep playoff run. They're going to have to win on the road at some point, and unfortunately, it does not get easier for them, as after the New England game, assuming they are going to go into the bye at worst 3-3, they come off of the bye and will play at Minnesota, and then eventually at Kansas City and at New Orleans. But directly off the bye, they play at Minnesota, which is certainly not an easy game, and then they play versus Denver, versus Atlanta, at Kansas City, and versus the Raiders. So it's not exactly the worst 5-game stretch in the world, as they should again win at all 3 of those home games. At Minnesota, they beat them there last year, and it's certainly going to be a tough game for them. It was a tough game for them last year, and it'll be another tough one this year. So I think that is as 50-50 of a game as you can get. Now, at Kansas City later in the year in late November, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, will be a tough game, and I don't think Dallas will win that one. Could they? Yes. Will they? Again, probably not. But then they play Thanksgiving Day against the Raiders like they always do, and then they play the following Thursday at New Orleans on Thursday night. So after Thanksgiving, the Raiders, it's at New Orleans on Thursday, then at the football team, then at the Giants, then home against the football team, versus the Cardinals, and at Philadelphia to end the year. So honestly, not a horrible schedule for the Cowboys. It could be a lot worse, and just looking at it, and I think they definitely can get around 10 to 11 wins. Will they is another question, but I definitely think they can put themselves in a good position to set themselves up for postseason success. Who the wildcard teams are obviously going to drastically affect the Cowboys. Will it be a very good team? Will Aaron Rodgers even be on the Packers? You obviously have to bring that up when discussing the whole NFC playoffs, not just for the Packers, but for everyone else, because they are a top team in the NFC. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Will Dallas have a defense this year? Because when Dak was playing last year, they most certainly did not, as it seemed like they had to put up 45 points a game just to win when Dak was out there. And how the defense steps up in 2021 versus the start of 2020 will certainly be something to keep an eye on, as if they can't step up, then it's pretty simple. Dallas will not win a Super Bowl if their defense can't step up, no matter how good Dak is. So another thing that I think will happen with the Cowboys 2021 season is I do think Ezekiel Elliott will be back. And I don't think the 2020 season, in which he had 979 yards and averaged a career low in yards per carry with just 4.0, I don't think that is really reflective as to what he will be from here on out. Now, do I think he is done at just 25 years old, going to be 26? No, I don't. I think they can get at least another 2 to 3 good years out of him, and I think Zeke has at least another 2 or 3 1,200 plus yard years in the tank, especially with the 17-game season. And even if they can't, I do think Tony Pollard is a good enough player to take over the run game, or at least share it with Zeke, and obviously that wouldn't be ideal, but I don't think Zeke is just this all of a sudden he's 26 years old, he's done, screw him, he's just awful. I don't think that, and I do think with the presence of Dak that obviously teams are going to have to respect him, and they're going to have to respect not only Dak, but CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup as well. So with that being said, I do think Zeke will be back, and that will be a large part in the Cowboys 2021 success. Now, for the last part of the video, what I do want to say is going to benefit the Cowboys is some wild cards. Is Aaron Rodgers at this point in time is a question mark. So having said that, I think that only benefits not only the Cowboys, by the way, but every other NFC team. And another thing that I do think benefits them is another year of age for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as Tom Brady will eventually fall off. Now, with his TB12 diet and his perfect nutrition, that is a question as to how long he will be able to stay healthy and stay good. He threw for 40 touchdowns in 2020, which is nothing short of impressive. But at some point you would have to think he'll fall off. And at some point you would also have to think he will trip up in a playoff game and just play bad, and the rest of the team will not, I don't want to say bail him out, but just not play good as well. And at that point, the Cowboys offense is loaded, and there are not many offenses in the NFL that are better than the Cowboys, period. Of course, you can think of a couple, but there's not many is my point. Now, don't say, oh, this one. You get what I'm saying, right? Now, the NFC West, as we said, and they're going to beat up on each other throughout the year. The Cowboys playing in the NFC East, and for really lack of a better word, the cupcake division of the NFL, given that a 7-9 team won the division last year, is only going to benefit them in terms of health in the playoffs. Now, obviously, getting hit by somebody on the Giants and getting hit by somebody on the Rams is, they're both NFL players. It's not like they're just weaker. I mean, they are, but, you get what I'm saying there. It's going to benefit them in a sense of, I think they'll be more fresh, because what is critical to NFL players is time of possession. And if you can save a team, especially a defense, 5 minutes here and have a team run the ball out more here, that's going to only help them down the stretch of the season. Now, do I think the Cowboys will get the number 1 seed and, have that extra week off in the first round of the playoffs? No, I don't think that. But I do think Dallas' chances at a Super Bowl, it's obviously going to be brought up and people are going to be like, yeah, right, this team hasn't won since the 90s, they're a joke, whatever. But I don't think that's the case either. They almost won the division last year with Dak being out for nearly 3/4 of the season, and with him coming back, I would have a hard time, A, seeing him not be the comeback player of the year, and B, have a hard time not seeing Dallas win the division. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick will have spurts of play where he is Patrick Mahomes on steroids, and then he'll have spurts of play where he's Ryan Leaf. So I don't think with that type of inconsistency that Washington will win the division, and I don't think the Giants or the Eagles will win the division either. So in the middle of June, I do think this is the Cowboys' division to lose, and after that, they're going to have some things go for them, like playing wildcard teams that are beat up, like an NFC West team, and then having a game where Tom Brady just slips up and just does not play good, or a pass rush consistently gets after him. So what I do want to say is the Cowboys' chances of winning the Super Bowl are, they're not high, granted, let's get that clear, but it's not as low as you'd think, and it's just not as matter of a let's just make a joke and get likes on Twitter and then just leave it at that. So with that being said, Cowboys fans, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I had been seeing comments about what do you have against the Cowboys, and the answer to that, by the way, is nothing. I do want them to succeed. Dak is one of my favorite players in the NFL. I feel like you can't not root for Dak unless you are an NFC East opponent or a fan of the NFC East. That's not the Cowboys. I do love Dak, and I wish him nothing but the best, and I wish the Cowboys the best of luck moving forward. So with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. It would help a ton with YouTube's algorithm, and it would mean the world. So anyways, until next time, have a great day. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.